first round of the 2024 NFL Draft was one of the craziest in recent memory. Today I'm going to go over my top 5 favorite and least favorite picks of the first round of this draft. I have some really strong opinions on a lot of these picks. I think a lot of teams drafted really well. I think some teams drafted really, really poorly. So let's get into it. All right, starting off with my top 5 least favorite picks of the draft. Let's get the negativity out of the way. I'm not going to be too hard on these teams except for one of them. But let's just go straight into it. I have the Titans pick at 7, J.C. Latham. I think J.C. Latham is awesome. He's a big guy, played tackle at Alabama, played under Nick Saban. You gotta love that. I just think there was better tackles on the board. Troy Fautanu, Talisa Fuaga, Olufashano, all on the board with the Titans at 7. I know they probably wanted Joe Alt, but I think J.C. Latham just wasn't the best tackle on the board. And I think at 7, it's just a bit of a reach. I think they could have even traded back and still gotten Latham or a plethora of those other tackles I talked about, trading back and getting other assets along with him. I just think 7 was a bit of a reach for a player like J.C. Latham. Again, I think he's going to be good. Could be a Pro Bowler in this league. Could be your franchise right or left tackle, wherever you want to put him. It's just a little bit of a reach at 7. I just would like to have seen Troy Fautanu, Olufashano, or Talisa Fuaga there at 7 for the Titans. But the Callahans taking on offensive linemen, I'm sure he's going to be a Hall of Famer because the Callahans are amazing at coaching offensive linemen. Next up, I have a player I like a lot, Chop Robinson at 21 to the Dolphins. I just think it's a bit of a reach. Chop Robinson, I think, is super raw. He's really twitchy. He's really fast. He's super sick. I just think it's a little bit of a reach for the Dolphins. They also don't super need edge. You know, they have Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. I get they're both coming off of significant injuries, and you want to get depth position. But you're picking at 21, and I think there's just other painful needs, especially D tackle, and Johnny Newton's there on the board. I think you have to replace Christian Wilkins. I would have liked that pick a lot more for Miami than the Chop Robinson pick. Like I said, super good player. He's just going to have a little bit of time to develop. He's playing behind 2 really good edge rushers in the NFL, so I'm not too worried about it. I just don't really understand the pick all that much for Miami. Next up, I have Jordan Morgan, tackle to the Green Bay Packers. Kind of the same thing as J.C. Latham. Just don't think this was his spot. I think you probably could have gotten Jordan Morgan in the 2nd round. You could have traded back, gotten a lot of assets, and still gotten your guy. Now, I get it. They got their guy. They're happy with Jordan Morgan. He could probably play right tackle. He's probably going to play right tackle. He's going to play left tackle. I mean, Zach Tom probably stick over on that right side. He might even play guard. I don't really know what they're going to do with him. He's a good player. I just don't love the pick for Green Bay. I also think Cooper DeJean's on the board. You got to take a guy like that if he falls to you at 25. I understand tackle's a need, or guard, whichever he's going to play. There was just better players on the board for me, and I don't really understand why the Packers are hesitant to take those type of guys. They need help in a lot of positions, and I just don't think that tackle was the biggest need this high in the draft. All right, next up is where I think it gets pretty bad. These top 2, I just don't like the picks at all. We have Bo Nix to the Denver Broncos at 12. I just don't like the pick really at all. I don't think Bo Nix is going to be a franchise quarterback. He's a little bit older. He was terrible at Auburn, and at Oregon, he was really good, but he was in the perfect offense for him. He's going into the NFL to play under Sean Payton for a Broncos team that is horrible. He's going to play under Zach Wilson for at least a couple weeks to start this year, and I just don't think he's much at all. I think he's another bridge quarterback for Denver. They are still yet to find their franchise guy since Peyton Manning. They keep getting these busts, bridge quarterbacks, older quarterbacks that don't work out. I don't think Bo Nix is the guy, especially at 12, and especially when you could have traded back and still probably got him. I know you're scared that the Raiders might have taken him at 14, but I think that would have been a blessing in disguise for Denver. You're so weak at almost every position that I just don't think quarterback was for you in this draft. You're going to be that bad next year, going to have a high pick. Take quarterback next year. I do not like this pick out of Denver. And finally, for the least favorite picks, we have Michael Penix Jr. Now, real quick, I'll show you my reaction, the instant reaction to this pick.
So the first...
Michael Penix Jr. Yeah, this pick is terrible. Like, really, really bad. What are the Falcons doing? You go in, you bring in a defensive-minded coach. You think, we're going to get the best defensive player off the board at 8, and you go quarterback. You just signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year deal worth a ton of money. What are you doing? And in the post-game press conference, not post-game, but post-draft press conference, the GM comes out and he's like, Kirk Cousins is our quarterback, but you got to think about the future. The NFL is all about the future, blah, 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 which I understand. But at 8, you're taking a 24-year-old. He'll be 28 years old by the time Kirk Cousins' deal is done. What are we talking about? It makes no sense at all. This pick is terrible. It's an F-. You're at 8. You could have gotten this guy in the 2nd round, in my opinion. What are you doing? Not to mention lefty quarterback, which can bring up a lot of complications in the NFL. Big injury history. He's torn his right ACL 2 times and has problems in both shoulders, which includes his throwing shoulder. I don't get it. If you understand this pick, please let me know down below, because it makes 0 sense to me. Why in the hell are the Falcons taking quarterback at 8? What the hell? All right, transitioning into my favorite picks of the draft. Get that negativity out of here. Let's get positive about this draft. We have the Chiefs trading up for speedster Xavier Worthy. Ran the fastest 40 ever, 4.21. How could you not love this? He's going to play that Tyreek Hill role for this Chiefs offense. Now, I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill. Nobody is. But Kansas City has their burner again. They have their guy that's going to take the top off the defense, burn everyone. He's the fastest guy in the field at all times. Patrick Mahomes gets another insane weapon, and they trade up with the Bills to get him. Doesn't make a ton of sense, but Chiefs made a great move here. Take the absolute speed demon in Xavier Worthy. Love the pick. All right, at 4, I have Laiatu Latu to the Indianapolis Colts. At 15, the first defensive player off the board in this draft. 14 straight offensive players go in this draft to start it out. That's insane. NFL record. 6 quarterbacks in the top 12. Crazy. But yeah, Laiatu Latu, absolute stud. My defensive #1 player in this class. It's just at Washington, had a neck problem. I don't know exactly what he did to it, but he hurt his neck really bad. Didn't play for 2 years. Was told to medically retire. Transfers to UCLA and is just a baller. He's so good off the edge. He was the best edge rusher in this draft. It's just injury concerns. You never like to hear that a guy is retired medically from football before and take him in the 1st round. It's just scary. But if Laiatu Latu can stay healthy, watch out. The Colts just got an insane player. Took best player available. That's what the Colts do. Love this pick. Could be a all-pro bowler for years to come. Next up, as much as it pains me to do this as a Browns fan, it's Nate Wiggins to Baltimore Ravens. I don't know how Nate Wiggins falls to 30. I doubt Baltimore thought he was going to be there at 30. This kid has the biggest potential in this draft to stay out on an island all by himself in one-on-one press coverage. Man, is Nate Wiggins good. And how the Ravens just do it again, get a fantastic player by sticking where they're at. I don't know. The Ravens do it every year. They always have a good draft. That's why they're always good. You see the Falcons always picking at 8, taking offensive players pretty much every year, and they're picking at 8 every year. The Ravens are just getting better, and their draft picks are hitting every year. And Nate Wiggins, I think, is going to be along that path of another hitting draft pick. Just a sick pick at 30 for the Ravens. You get a guy who could be the best quarterback in this class at 30. Yeah, I think I'll take that. Next up, the Minnesota Vikings take Dallas Turner at 17 overall. Now, they took J.J. McCarthy at 10. Not my biggest fan. I'm not the biggest fan of that pick. But next up, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking Dallas Turner at 17th overall. Now, they took J.J. McCarthy at 10th overall. Not the biggest fan of that pick, but definitely could be the franchise quarterback for Minnesota. I just don't really think he's gonna be a great NFL quarterback like a lot of people think he can be. I think he's pretty NFL ready. I just don't really love the pick. Anyways, Dallas Turner, this pick on the complete opposite side of that. Love this pick. Dallas Turner was so good at Alabama, played on the opposite side of Will Anderson Jr., and then kind of just kept it up last year at Alabama. Played under Nick Saban. Obviously, that's a plus. Just such a sick player. It's your Danielle Hunter replacement right away. Danielle Hunter signs with the Houston Texans. It's a big pickup for them and a big loss for Minnesota. But you're bringing in Dallas Turner to be that next franchise defensive end pass rusher. I love this pick. Big chance at defensive rookie of the year. Such a great pick for Minnesota. You're beefing up that defense, which was already pretty good last year. I love this pick. And before I talk about my best pick of the draft, which you can see is Quinyon Mitchell, guys like Caleb Williams, Drake May, those kind of picks, Marvin Harrison Jr., those were fantastic picks, but those were kind of chalk. Like, obviously, Caleb Williams is probably going to be the best pick of this draft, or maybe Marvin Harrison Jr., but, like, you know, I'm trying to find those guys that kind of fell down the board or, you know, better values, because Caleb Williams at 1 is a great pick, but you took the guy you were supposed to take. So, you know, it's just a little bit of, you know, it's a little bit different for me. I also really like Malik Neighbors at 6. I just think the Giants did a great job at not taking quarterback there. But anyways, we have Quinyon Mitchell at pick 22 to the Eagles. Much like the Ravens, I don't know how they do it. Howie Roseman is a magician when it comes to the draft. He just always gets everyone's favorite player, including me. Quinyon Mitchell, probably my favorite player in the first round. Such a sick player. He's going to be awesome. He's going to be on his own island. He's going to be a great man corner. He can play his own. He can do it all very well. He's out of Toledo. I don't care. Such a good player. And the Eagles somehow land him at 22. Such a good pick for the Eagles. Insane value. Just perfect pick for the Eagles. I had them trading up to 12 to take this kid. They get him 10 picks later at 22. This Eagles team is going to be so good next year. I think Quinyon Mitchell is going to plug and play, fit right in, and just make that team better instantly. But yeah, so those are my top 5 least and favorite picks of this NFL draft in the first round. Let me know what you guys think of this video. I had a lot of fun making it. So yeah, leave a comment down below, and thank you for watching.